is primary. When you buy a car, anything that you buy, you learn how to take care of it, what to put in it. You can't put water in your car. You can't put bleach in the fish tank. It will die. It'll clean it, but it'll die. You know, so that's what people are learning now, that they've been duped, that this way of eating is not conducive to longevity. In other countries, I know the Hunza people live to be in their 150, 160s. The women have children in their 60s because they only live on the raw food of the land that has the natural enzymes and the phytonutrients in it. So recently I did start teaching what's called food-based healing, and I've had great results with that because it gives people something to do to take back their power and to begin healing themselves. Because as a society, most people say, well, what do I eat then? It's hard, right?
Well, it's not convenient. You can't just go through a drive-through, that's for sure.
Right. And that's part of the society of the quick fix. When you look at the whole picture, you can see that we really, like I said, we have to go backwards. We do have to plan, with our families, with our food, choosing to be the change, in the world. And the more that we choose individually to do this, indigenous to our own healing, if we know that we are a part of the whole universal life force energy, that whole 100%, we then send out that energy through our energy fields that begins the change, and everyone else.
Mm-hmm. Before we move on to music, you made me think of something. Have you ever had kombucha mushroom and the tea that they make from that?
Yes, I have. I actually drink a green tea with kombucha every day, but I have had that tea as well, not recently. And yes, it's enzymatic action, and kind of like kimchi and other probiotics. It really helps to maintain the flora, of our gut, so to speak, and to keep it, the way it's supposed to be, so that we can absorb our food properly.
Back in the 90s, when I was still in Texas, we got involved with, we got our own little kombucha mushroom, and we were growing our own little kombucha mushroom there in the kitchen in the big glass gallon jars. And the frightening thing about it is that every 3 weeks or 2 weeks, I can't remember now, it doubles. So all of a sudden you start with one mushroom, and in about 7 weeks you've got 150 jars of kombucha tea, and you don't know what to do with it. But apparently the part of the world where that started out, those people, and I want to say it was either in the Caucasians or the Ural Mountains. I think it's the Ural Mountains, closer to Russia than the Caucasians, that those people very normally live to be 120, 130 years old. It's not that unusual there. And they say that some of it has to do with that kombucha mushroom tea, but I don't know if that's true. So you say that's an enzymatic action. It's not an straight out energy thing. It's enzymes and chemical.
Well, it is an energy, of course. Everything has its energy, and it's a pure, God food in itself. So it definitely, plays a part in the digestive system, the intestinal system. I mean, 70% of our immune system resides in the intestines. So that tells you a lot right there. If your stomach and intestines are not working properly, well, we're in big trouble. So when people say, this country drinks this or eats that and lives to be so long, sure, that helps. But I would look at everything that they eat there and how they live, the entire body, mind, and spirit, way of what they respect and do with their body. And usually those people are eating a different diet than we are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Overall,
and I doubt they're all sitting around looking at the computer screen all day long either.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
I don't. Right.
let me give out our number again. I'd like to encourage people to call 888-919-2355 and talk to Constantina Vaseliades, who is a practitioner of healing energy techniques and also a holistic health educator. Let me just use me as an example. I'm going to change the subject here for just a few minutes to music, and then I really do want to talk about pets for a little bit. For example, my very favorite put me in a dream state music is like Barber's Adagio for strings, and maybe some of the Debussy pieces. And I have a friend and a nephew, two people who are crazy for Beethoven, and a friend who's crazy for Mozart. And they are the same way with that music that I am with my Barber and my Debussy. Now, is that something that's specific to my energy spin that makes me prefer that music but not the other, and vice versa for them, or how does that work?
That's exactly correct. In other words, that's the frequency that you need. That is the energy vibration that you need for your healing at that time, or relaxation, or energy, or whatever you want to call it. That's the tone or frequency, and actually color, if you were to see the color of the sound that your body needs compared to the other person. Whatever, frequency that we are resonating at that time, it can go both ways. A lot of people know what they need to make them feel relaxed and calm and balanced. And then there are people that are choosing to reside in a certain frequency for whatever reason, and the music that they're listening to when it's been tested has proven to not raise the vibration, but actually keep it at a lower state. And you just have to realize that for each person, they're where they need to be at that time, and 100% at that time for their healing. So yeah, it's very, very true what you're saying.
So if my husband and I are here at the house and he wants to listen to what I call headbanger music, and he says he needs it to relax, he really means that.
Yes. And
Okay.
I mean, he does in a sense, because they do have to think of the why, and sometimes we don't address the why. Does he want to listen to it because he doesn't want to think? The same way as a person would maybe watch TV. Are they watching that TV show because it makes them feel good and it raises their vibration to a state of love and relaxation? Or are they watching or listening that so that they don't have to be here? That's the difference.
Thank you so much for saying that, because I have never heard that response to my question or a question similar to it, and I don't think I ever would have thought of that as a possible legitimate response to it. I can understand that. Sometimes I'm that way. Sometimes I used to be more that way with the TV. I just wanted to sort of tune out, and that was the best way to tune out. So you're saying that some of that music, some of these people listening to that, they just can't, they don't want to think right now, and that's the best way to shut it all out.
Right. They don't want to deal with anything. It's actually, in a sense, you can go deeper and would say that people who use a drug or alcohol to extreme, because to do it in a good way, to raise it in a good way, it might not be anything that they're familiar with, or are just not ready to go there right now. So we have to appreciate that that's where they've chosen to be at this time, and that is, in a sense, works for them. But most people nowadays are realizing that if I can get myself to a place of relaxation, a state of bliss and love, that everything else around me is okay, and will work out for the highest and the best of all, because I know it. As opposed to, and that raises my frequency. If I say, this is what I want, I know this is the way it's going to be, and that's the energy I'm sending out there. Dr. Emoto presented material that thoughts become things. So we know that sending that energy out, a thought form, is a form of energy work. And that's the beginning of the change and raising the vibration. Whereas the other way allows us to stay right where we are and really nothing changes. And that's actually what these people say. The same day, everything, it doesn't change over and over. And so that's the thought that's being presented and sent out, to the rest of their energy, the rest of universal energy. And that's exactly, what comes back. And I love to tell the story. I think I told you this before, of when Mother Teresa was in a country where there was war. And they asked her, she was there to just help heal and hold the children, just being and bringing her love essence there. And the people in charge asked her if she would come and do an anti-war rally, that they wanted to end this war. And she said, no, I won't. And they just looked at her. And she said to them, you have a peace rally, and I'll be there. And that's what they did. And the war ended that day.
That's amazing.
So that's the difference, in sending out the energy of love to the situation, as opposed to focusing on what we don't want.
Mm-hmm.
We focus on what we do. Yeah, and it will change it. But with the music, there are certain times, when maybe you will feel compelled to listen to some crazy, wild music, to dance and vibrate and feel good. That's different. But if you're listening to it to block out, as opposed to going to a place of calmness and raising your vibration, that's when I would say you might want to look at it.
Very, very interesting. Let me give out our number again. It's 888-919-2355. And you're listening to Constantina Vaseliades here with us on Epic Voyages at InceptionRadioNetwork.com. We've been talking about energy, people's individual personal energy fields, and we're getting ready to switch just a little bit and talk about my favorite topic in the whole world, pets. Now, when we started talking tonight, Constantina, you mentioned that your heart has always been oriented towards animals. Can you say a little bit, and let me recap one more thing. You had also said that very often when you're doing healing with animals, it's because they've taken on the physical pain of someone that they are living close to there. So tell us a little bit about what you do with animals in your work with energy healing with them.
I do the same thing with animals as I do with people. We send energy to balance the chakras and open up the energy fields to the physical body, to the meridians, to the area that, is having a physical problem. And then if the animal chooses to tell us, I would do communication and ask the animal, what they're feeling, why they're feeling it, if they're holding energy for someone else. Because remember, if we're all one energy, all of us, when we pass on, are the same energy of this earth on this planet. We combust, go down to that same, earth energy, carbon. And I asked them, and I noticed in the beginning of my work when a person would come to me, let's say with, urinary issues, etc., the animal that they brought to me first would have that same problem. And when I'm working on the animal, if the animal doesn't respond right away, and you ask them, or you ask the family would say, oh yeah, I get them all the time. And so I was told